enjoyment, and in some cases, education. So, who have we got today? Well, if you've read the newsletter, I don't have to tell you. But for those people who haven't read the newsletter, we're pleased to welcome back author and entrepreneur Brad Walker, who will tell us more about his experience living in a small community in Thailand. His topic is entitled, Welcome to Amazing Karon Village. Who would be crazy enough? The topic deals with how a rice farming village became a book. Welcome to Amazing Karon Village. Is that how you pronounce it? Karon? Karon. Just released and now available at all Asia bookstores in Thailand, and I suspect there's one or two down here if you wish later on to buy one. The book recounts his experiences of living for the past 12 years in a small rice farming village located in Thailand's Surin province. So please give a warm welcome once again to Brad Walker. Up you come. That's it. Here we are. Here we are again.
All right. Aloha.
There's no lip here.
No. I found out the hard way.
You can't.
We're going to put this here because I'll do it a little bit over. You don't want that one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be back here once again. Okay. Did that wrong. I was trying to time this thing so we know I wouldn't go over, but I guess I'm not going to get it right. There we go. Oh no. More problems. We're not going to deal with it. Okay, aloha. Aloha. Welcome back to the PCEC meeting. This is now my third time up in front of you guys, and you'd think I'd be able to say it by now, but evidently you keep on learning. The first time I came here, oh, where's my clicker? Okay, the first time I came here, we talked about this, that being my first book that I had published, and that book came out of a list of experiences that I had, is what it looks like, and I think many of you actually bought it here. In fact, we did really well that day, as I remember. You know, and many people have come back since, telling me that they have read the book and they truly enjoyed it. And, you know, as a writer, that is really mostly what's the most gratifying about it, because unless your name is J.K. Rowling or Stephen King, you generally don't make a whole bunch of money writing books. It's more for self-gratification. Well, I decided to write a book about sign. Oops. Okay. One of these days, I live in a small little village up in what is called Sulin province, and a lot of those days are passed with this as the company. But here is Sulin in the red. Okay, it's an explosion of the map of Isan, and we're down in the red. Up in the right-hand corner of that province is where Karon is. It's located about 20 kilometers from the border to the PCEC province. Has anybody here been up north? Okay, there's quite a few of you. Many of you may have spouse or girlfriend that hail from Sulin, from PCEC, Bulila, Ubon Ratchathani, or the other provinces up here. They seem to migrate down here in search of various forms of employment. Which is a nice word. But as I said, I made this book about that sign. And of course there's a story that precedes that sign being made, and the fact that it's now still there. What that story goes back to is I had a gentleman visitor from California, a longtime friend. We've been friends since college. And he was there for 4 months. Now, I'm going to let you know that there's a lot of time that you need to fill up if you're going to live in one of these villages successfully. We spent a lot of it talking. And we talked about things, and he brought up the point that, you know, we all call this amazing Thailand. And it is amazing, do you not think so? Of course we do, right? Well, his point was that if Thailand's amazing, then a village in Thailand should also be amazing. So we started calling it Amazing Karon Village, which was fun. We got a laugh out of the locals. Yeah, we renamed their village for it. But he went off, he went back home, he went back to California, and I'm sitting there, and this amazing Karon is rattling around in my brain. So one of these days, when I had too much time, instead of going for a beer bottle, I went for my cabinet shop. And I'm actually a pretty good cabinet maker and carpenter. And I found the perfect piece of wood, that being it, and I made that sign. And I was really inspired by doing this. So I made the sign, I made the framework, and I got up at about 5 o'clock in the morning before anybody would see me, and I went and planted it at the beginning of the village, the entrance to Karon Village. Okay, so I'm sitting there thinking that everybody's just going to think this is great and come and tell me. No, that didn't happen. Part of the reason is because the people in the village do not speak English, nor do any of them read it. So nobody knew what it said. Nor did they care. But this guy, he came up to me. Now he happens to be the administrative puyai of the village. He's the guy that gets everything done. There's another guy called the puyai ban that actually is the, you know, titular head of the village. But Tawen is a friend of mine. We've shared a beer or two. We have a good time talking, even though he doesn't speak very much English. We get along in my rather rudimentary Thai. But Tawen is a nice guy, and he finally walks up to me one day with this. I said, what? He goes, Amazing Karon. I go, that's me. And he goes, I like it. I like it. Well, it gets a little better, because they had actually commissioned this sign about the same time. And it was to go where my sign was, so they moved mine across the street, took out 2 signs, and replanted it. And had this big dedication. These people are all dignitaries from Ratanaburi Amput, okay? Which is the Amput up in the right-hand corner of the Sulan province. Well, it just so happens, this guy is the lead jammer, the head of Ratanaburi province. He says, who made that sign? I said, that'd be me, brother. And so he says, I want pictures. So he gets me, he does by himself with his assistant, but he has a lot of pictures of me. Of course, I couldn't take one since I was in it. But those are in the official village record. I mean, the Ratanaburi record of doing this little dedication ceremony. And that has really helped me, by the way, because in the ensuing years, people I met there that are in the district office have helped me out on various things, including getting my yellow book for the house and getting my Thai driver's license. And recently, thanks to a young lady who's sitting down here, I registered an usufruct for the house I built 12 years ago. So it's finally actually mine. But thank you, Kung, okay? Kung has Thai legal, it's one-stop legal services on Templeton Road, and I've had many things done with her. She's great. If you ever need any of that sort of thing, including she was telling me the other day, she knows how to recover assets if you ever split up with your Thai significant other. I thought that was a really good thing worth knowing. Anyway, I get thinking about this amazing Karon Village, and where did I go? How many people are on Facebook? Yeah, there's a lot of people on Facebook. Did you know that Bangkok has the world's largest concentration of Facebook users. 75% of the population of Bangkok has a Facebook account. About 75%, 9 million population are friending and unfriending and messaging away on this, the world's most popular social network. So I made this page. It's called Welcome to Amazing Karon. And it's on Facebook, you can look it up. And I kept thinking, I started writing little blogs for this, and little posts, pictures of the village, pictures of all the pretty girls in the village, and that sort of thing. And I started to think, I think there's a story here, and I'm gonna tell it. I've been out about reading a book, or writing a book for many, many years. And so I started to write down my thoughts. And I got about 3 chapters into it, which is the requisite for submitting a book, okay? You need the following things if anybody's interested. You need a table of contents, 3 chapters, the back cover, your bio, and an introduction. That's the kit to submit a book. I decided I'd do that after I got into this about, 3 chapters, and I kept writing. Well, I call that company, okay? Now, does anybody know Asian Books? Largest book, English language book company in Thailand. They now no longer publish, but they did back then. So I talked to a lady by the name of Kun Rachia, and Kun Rachia said, send what you got. I did. She calls me back in 2 days and says, I really like this. Do you have any more? Well, yeah, I have more. I sent her another 4 chapters. She calls me back in about 3 days. She says, we are going to publish it. And friends, I was over the moon. That's a nice thing to hear. It'd be the first time that I ever had anything published. Well, as I always say at this juncture, a funny thing happened on the way to the press. And what that funny thing was she'd asked me if I'd ever written anything else. I said, well, yes, I had. I started a book about year 2000 or 2K. 2002. Mixing my tie in, how's that? 2002, I started a book called If at First You Don't Filipina, Tie, Tie, Tie Again. Now, can anybody guess what that's about? Yeah, it's about that. She guessed too. She said, no thanks, we're more family oriented than that. Have you written anything else? Well, yeah, as it turns out, I had. In about 2008, I had come into some money and I decided to start a business renovating and selling other businesses, specifically ones that had premises that needed to look nice, because I know how to do that. So my first victim was me. Actually, it was a guest house in Hua Hin. And I buy this guest house without doing something like I didn't go see Kun with the lease. It was as phony as a $3 bill. Presented to me by somebody I had known for 4 years. So I decided, after losing about $10,000 on this deal and having to vacate with my tail between the legs because the landlord thought he had me over a barrel. I said, well, no, you don't. Here's what I'm going to do. I didn't tell him. I just drained the place of all the stuff that was rightfully mine, as me and him had inventory, and left. And he freed, but he had no legal ground to free. So, yeah, I mitigated maybe $2,000 of my $10,000 damage by selling this stuff, but it was a real lose-lose. It didn't have to be. The gentleman ended up renting the guest house for exactly what I was paying. Only he didn't get to do that for 2 years. Had he done it, he would have never lost a month's rent. Well, neither one of us made out from that one. But I decided that we needed a book. The Farang Survival Guide to Thailand. Okay, so I had written about 40,000 pages in this. I'd actually submitted it to Bangkok Books, another book publisher. smaller than Asia. They accepted it, but they said, look, we don't have any money to publish. You can publish it, we'll distribute it. I said, well, pal, I just lost all my money. I can't publish it. But I told Grazia about it. She goes, well, I don't like the title. I said, okay. But she sent it anyway. I sent it. She read it. She goes, I like this. In fact, we really like this one. We want to publish it. We're going to change the name, but you got to finish it. So I said, okay, I'll do that. You know, I'm great. Now I got a 2-book deal, right? Well, it didn't quite work out that way again. But I did finish the book, and I took the shortcut to doing so by stripping off some of the chapters out of Amazing Karon and working them into Amazing Thailand, okay? Thinking that it'd be easy to rewrite those chapters. But that came out. And we actually did pretty good with it. This book, I think it's on the ground now because it'll stay on the deal. Wherever it is. Oh, here. This book. Many of you bought this book. I was very gratified by that. And somebody came up today and told me how much they enjoyed reading it. And, you know, like I say, you like hearing that. Well, it did well enough. It got up to number 5, the best-selling books of Thailand in Asia Books. They have 70 stores, you know. So we did all right. It went into reprint. And meanwhile, I have to rewrite all these chapters I've taken out of Amazing Karon to finish Amazing Thailand, which is pretty amazing, don't you think? Yes, no. So I do this, but I found that it's really hard. Like when you write, you kind of start writing and kind of go wherever it goes. Well, if you need it to end up somewhere, you can't quite do that. Well, I had Bren Lexander review the book when I finally finished with it, and one of his comments was, it's got kind of a meandering style. Well, yeah, it does, and that's why. But I figured as life in the village is fairly meandering in itself, it kind of fit. And I called Kun Raja. I said, okay, Kun Raja, Amazing Karon is just about ready to go to the press. She says, well, I have some bad news for you and some good. I said, what's the bad? Well, we're out of publishing. No. She said, but the good news is you can publish it and we will order enough to cover your cost of doing it. In fact, what they ended up ordering was enough to assure we have a profit, assuming it sells. Okay, that's one thing about books, they're on consignment. If they don't sell, you get them back. They're pretty much good for paper then, if nobody wants to buy them. But she ordered enough, it really looks like the book's going to do well. So, now, where are we? Came out to be this, okay? And that's the book I'm going to talk to you about today. Welcome to Amazing Karon Village. Okay? It starts with this. That's my house, okay, with the elephant in front. The elephant's not me, but that's what they call me up there, Chong. And they have since I started, staying in Karon Village. I have been Chong.
Is that because of the beer? Because of the drink?
It could be.
We know, it's the beer.
No, the beer came after the nickname. Back then I drank Leo. There is a funny story about Leo beer in that book, but that's my house. It's since been added on to. It's a lot bigger than that and full of stuff. Computers and refrigerators and TVs and things that all the village kids like to come and play with. But here is a list of the chapters of Amazing Karon Village, and you probably can't see them very well. So I'll just tell you some of the highlights. For example, there is a chapter called, Chapter 7, Osama bin Laden comes to Karon Village. Well, he didn't. Okay, but this was back in around 2005. Bin Laden was still fresh in everybody's mind back then. He was still alive. But some guy in a pickup truck actually drives into my village with 2 big stickers of Osama bin Laden's likeness on his back fender. You think I like that? I'm an American, man. We hate Osama bin Laden. I said, this can't go on. Well, after 3 bottles of Leo, and I had not been drinking beer for 2 weeks, I was ready to do something about it. To find out what I did, it did end up with the removal of the stickers. Read the book. There's another chapter in my book, and I gotta see where I am. Who are you gonna call? There's a chapter called Ghost Stories. Now, everybody knows what a P is. What's a P? Ghost, of course. There is not one person that lives in a village in Thailand that doesn't have a moderate level of belief in spirits or ghosts. And I had my own experience with ghosts. I didn't personally meet them, but my girlfriend at the time in Bulilam, her mother woke up very agitated from a dream. Apparently the ghosts of her parents, her dead parents, visited her and admonished her about me and Tuki sleeping together without being married. What do you do about this? Who are you gonna call? Well, it wasn't Ghostbusters, it was a guy who, for lack of a better word, I call him a shaman. Because what he does is communicate with ghosts. Of course, for a modest fee, you might suspect. Mr. Shaman collects what and I had to pay for this, of course, some CSIP, some beer. You know what CSIP is? Everybody know what CSIP is? I'll explain it later. It's part of the presentation. But we have to get this beer and this Thai whiskey and some food and stuff and journey out to the middle of nowhere where there is sitting a lonely spirit house. And we stop there. We poured the CSIP on the ground, at least a little bit of it. We drank the rest after the successful completion of his intervention with the ghosts who were bothering Mama. After it was over, it was fine. I paid him his 350 baht, and we went back home and celebrated after we drank all the beer. Well, there's more ghosts, but not in this presentation. This girl reminds me, or it comes from a chapter called, what is that chapter called? Tony Robbins and Thai Policewoman. You know who Tony Robbins is? Everybody knows who Tony is. Famous. Firewalk. NLP. I know Tony. I was actually training with Tony to lead his firewalk experience. I probably did that 24 times before I finally decided, no, that's not what I'm going to do with my life. But Tony's an NLP practitioner. I think you guys had an NLP presentation here some weeks ago, right? Is anybody here for that? The guy was teaching you about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Well, I know a bit about it. And Tony, one of his techniques is the shoulder tap, okay? What that is about is when you share an experience with somebody, you want them to remember it because it was good, you give them a gentle tap on the shoulder. Supposedly a universally non-invasive and non-threatening behavior technique. Not. Don't do it to a Thai policewoman, okay? I know, I've done it twice. It didn't work either time, including with the lovely Miss Sue. She told me, I am a Thai woman, I do not like that. But Tony said, oh, really? Or I think as I said to the other policewoman, the back in America, she knows. And you should learn this acronym if you're from America, Tina Tit. Okay? Now I'm not talking about Tina Turner's anatomy. No, I'm talking about this is not America, this is Thailand. And they will tell you so if you ever say, back in America. So I never do. Tina Tit. Any event, You want to know about healthcare in Thailand? That's interesting to all of us, isn't it? I mean, we're all getting along, you know. Not going to last forever. Eventually, you're going to end up in a Thai hospital. That's me in a Thai hospital. If you didn't recognize me, I went in there for cabbage. No, I'm not talking about the vegetable market, but cabbage as in coronary arterial bypass grafts. I had 4. The operation went great. The recuperation did not. And I would not be here. I would certainly be dead because I did die once, almost did another time, in the 1 month in CCU, which was projected out of the gate to be 3 days. But I caught not 1, but 2 strains of pneumonia, one of which they didn't know how to cure. And were it not for the intervention of my estranged wife and one Mr. Jerry Weiner, I would be dead. 100% true. Okay? They had asked my wife for permission to remove life support. She said, nothing doing. I was surprised when I heard she said that. She called Jerry. Now, one thing I know about Thai women is they can be very persuasive. I mean, and she told Jerry, you have to get here now. I'll come tomorrow. No, now. Jerry was on a bus within an hour, was up there within 6. And Jerry is a pretty tall guy. My surgeon was less tall than me. So Jerry looked down and said, we're not pulling the plug. Okay. So for the next month, they worked on me. Again, Jerry started Facebooking, so everybody in America knew about this. My sister picks up the reins and calls my friend who happens to be in Koh Tao, and her husband, who's also my friend, happens to be a cardiac nurse. Had he not showed up, I'm dead, because he knew the cure and my doctor didn't. But that aside, I am very impressed, and favorably so, with healthcare in this country, and I think it's good for all of us that it's available. You meet a series of characters besides the Ghostbusters, and in the book you're going to meet the proprietor of this store. This is Mia Luang's store. You know what a Mia Luang is? Who's got a Mia Luang? Everybody that's married has got a Mia Luang, okay? Anybody out there with Mia noise? Yeah, nobody's going to say that, is it? Mia Luang means major wife in Thai, okay? Mia Noi is the minor model over here on the side. Well, Mia Luang, who happens to be my best friend in the village, but as the owner of what was once the only store, that was the social nexus. Also, the basic trunk line for the Coconut Wireless. And Coconut Wireless is really the village method of communication. In other words, spreading rumors. Mia Luang was pretty good at it. She spread the rumor back before I moved to Thailand, but I was already married and already constructing my house, that I had a Mia Luang in America. And Nun, my wife, was only my Mia Noi. Well, my wife was pretty young at the time, like 22 or something. And she didn't like it. She got mad about it. And she tells me about it, and I think it's funny as hell. Okay. So I said, oh, honey, don't worry about it. Here's what we'll do. She goes, what? I said, we'll start telling everybody that she is my Mia Luang. And we did. To the point that now, 10 years later, her store is called Mia Luang's Store. Take a guess who made that sign. I go to Suin shortly after this because she actually came up to me and said, well, if I'm Mia Luang, why have you given me no presents? Good question. I know a sign maker in Suin. And I went there, had this made, come back, drilled holes in it, put screws in it, got my screw gun, went down without a word, stood up on the table where we all drank beer, and screwed this into that very location where it remains right now. The thing about this that's really interesting is that everybody refers to this woman to this day as Mia Wong. Well, anyway, including, well, oh, see what we did. I don't know where the bikers were. Well, I did? No, I didn't. No, I'm going the right way. Okay, there's Mia Wong's store, and Mia Wong's store sells pretty much everything you need to get by in the village. You know, why I put beer as the first thing is probably that is her biggest single volume item, followed closely by that. You know what this is? C6 degree. Means 40%, as in 40% alcohol. Well, people sit around Mia Wong's table and drink this stuff, and I have frequently been offered my share. And then they ask me, "Whiskey Lao, aloy di man? Is it delicious?" My answer, "Whiskey Lao, aloy qua diesel? It is more delicious than diesel fuel." Now, I've never really drank any diesel fuel, but I'm pretty sure that's true. But this stuff takes a pretty strong stomach to drink it. It also happens to be, along with motorbike accidents, the second leading cause of early death in the village. My own brother-in-law at 38 passed away due to his insistence on imbibing and CSIP. So I give it a wide berth, but I'm known to have some every now and then. But this is a story. Again, Mr. Jerry Weiner led a group of bikers. Actually, when they got to my house, by this time they had completely gained the attention of the whole village, but they drove up here. The Red Star motorbike gang came to Karon Village. Now, Sturgis. Does anyone know what Sturgis is?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Sturgis we're not, but we're looking there. Isan version. They had a great time. The village was duly impressed because they had some really nice machines. And they were really nice people. We had a great time. But that's not the only part of the Mia Wong story. This girl. That's Mia Wong's daughter, okay? Her name is Mam, and from age 14, as far as I'm concerned, she was the prettiest girl that ever lived in Karon Village. I mean, she's absolutely lovely, but what she has is she's got a bit of a brain, which makes her even more appreciable. She is the best English speaker in the village, and she has actually gone, due to Mia Wong's efforts, and graduated from Bangkok University. So here's what she did with her graduation, with her degree. First, she went to work at Siam Commercial Bank, a pretty good gig. But she immediately, within a year, moved up to True Communication, a better gig. Then she grabbed the brass ring. This young lady now, and started when she was premier, worked for Yingluck Shinawat. She makes a really good check. She has back now her second vehicle. She bought a Toyota Yaris. Then, just recently, she bought a house in Hua Hin. And now she purchased a pickup truck. So she's done well, and she's done it because she got educated. And I took that to heart because of that young lady there. That young lady is my stepdaughter. Okay, that is I have raised since she was 2. She's now 20. She too is on her way to the university. She's carrying now a 3.74 GPA at the University Prep School in Sisaket. And next term, after I think it's March, she will enter the university down here in Bangkok. and I forget the name of it, the initials are UPN, but it's an expensive university. You know who gets to pay. But I don't mind, you know. I want her to do well. I want her to have the opportunity of escaping from the village if she so chooses. Most of the kids don't have that option. But the education, that's the way out. You got to do that. Well, is very, very committed to her schooling. She'll do well. Originally, she wanted to be a vet. I think now she's going into accounting or something like that. But she has had 2 stints in Bangkok, working at 7-Eleven and working at McDonald's, and they're part of her schooling, actually. They give them 6 months to get work experience, to get experience dealing with the public. She's done really well. I'm really, really proud of her. So what I did was I decided that the proceeds from this book are going to her education. Okay, now, what has happened is that Asia Books bought enough books that I basically got the education bill covered. And I got 500 more books to sell. So what should I do? There's lots of other kids in Karon that don't have a sponsor. Now they do. So we are really actively interested in selling this book because we want to educate as many deserving, hardworking, and wonderful kids in that village as we can. That's what my purpose is in really doing what I'm doing up here today. And we're going to tour the country, and Asia Books is helping out, and I am doing these presentations to raise enough money to give as many scholarships as I can to these kids. Okay, so we're going to give you an opportunity to buy the book later at a slight discount from the store. It sells at Asia Books, and if you go there and buy it, I'm happy about that too, because I want them to do well with it, so they'll buy more. But you do have it here. It's $4.95 at AB, it's $4.50 here, and here you get a free autograph, courtesy of me. We'll do that after the meeting, but right now, I have a surprise for you. Oh, I left something out of this. It's one of the best parts of the speech. Ren Lexender's review of my book. Because I actually sent it to him. He helped edit it. So I said, what do you think of it? I said, So he starts his review out with some really high praise indeed. He says, this is the best book I ever read. But he didn't stop there. He added on about this subject. He goes on to say, it is also the only book I have read about this subject. I choose to think that that makes me all alone in a field that I created. Ratchet actually agreed. There's not many books that have been written about up there, but there's a lot of people that live up there that might be interested. I mean, in Sulin province, we have 6,000 Farangs that live there. So we will do a big promotion in Sulin, even though Asia Books doesn't have a store there. But in any event, we'll sell the book after. But now, speaking of Ren Lexender, we have a surprise for you. I don't know how many people were here the first time I spoke, but I sang a song, if you remember, called Buy Me a Motorbike.
Anybody remember that song? Buy me a motorbike, I want a tea. Well, I approached Brad and I said, I think this is a really funny song. Would you let me turn it into a duet? And he said, go for it. So we're going to sing Buy Me a Motorbike as a duet. And he's going to be, he's the
I'm the
Thai
girl.
He's the Thai woman and I'm the Farang man. So
Lady boy.
hope we enjoy it. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Vroom, vroom, vroom. Oh, buy me a motorbike, I want a TV. Buffalo sick, give some money to me.
I think I love you, do you love me?
Oh, must go village, meet the family.
Baby, I love you, but don't ask for no more.
Mama, no food, we must go to the store. And can you buy whiskey for my brother and gang? They drink all night, but no harvest of time.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Vroom, I make your heart go boom, boom, boom.
You make my wallet go kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
Oh, buy me a motorbike.
I bought you a motorbike.
I want a TV. And build me a house for my family.
I gave you some money so your mama have rice.
Also a car, that would be nice. Oh, Buffalo sick, must go doctor now. I call on you.
'Cause I'm the cash cow. Vroom,
Vroom, vroom. Down on the brooms. I make your body go boom, boom, boom.
you make my savings go kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
Oh, buy me a motorbike.
I bought you a motorbike and a TV.
A motorbike, TV, how about a gold chain?
My money near gone.
Go home and work again.
Motorbike, TV, I've already paid.
Keep paying darling if you wanna get laid.
My friend said he saw you with the Thai guy.
That's just my brother, would I tell you a lie?
He said that you two were holding hands.
That's just what we do right here in Thailand.
Vroom, vroom,
Vroom,
vroom.
vroom. I make your heart go boom, boom, boom.
You make my savings go kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
Oh, buy me a motorbike.
I bought you a motorbike, I bought a TV. I'm building a house for your family. I gave you some money so your mama have rice.
What about a car? That would be nice. And buy me a business, maybe a shop. So asking for money, it will come to a stop. Buffalo sick, must go doctor now. I call on you.
'Cause I'm the cash cow. Boom, vroom, vroom.
You make my heart go boom, boom, boom.
You make my brain go kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
Buy me a motorbike and a TV. And build me a house for my family. Give me some money so my mama have rice. Also a car, that would be nice. And buy me a business, a massage shop.
But you're asking money, it must come to a stop.
But Buffalo sick, must take doctor now. I call on you.
'Cause I'm the cash cow. Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. We have it up here after the show.
Yeah, huge thanks for Brad, because it's third talk here, and I described, when I said to this book, it's a really, its style is very meandering, it sort of meanders around, but I said this is very appropriate, because obviously this is what life does in the village, it meanders on, so it reflects the village, and I did say, it's just the greatest book I've ever read, about living in a Thai village, a Ferengi living in a Thai village, because what Ferengi lives in a Thai village like, for 12 years, right? And the most amazing part of the story, which we glossed over, was that things fell out with his Thai wife because she was with the Thai guy. Anyway, but the mother, and of course it was in her name, right?
Actually, it was in my mother-in-law's name, but
Yeah.
thanks to my friend Kung, it's now in mine.
Yeah.
The house.
But the mother-in-law favoured him and said, "You're a bad girl, you were playing around." And so he took possession of the house. So very, very unique story. Really good reading. He's also got 2 copies of Amazing Thailand as well. So, don't miss the chance to buy this book and get a signed copy.
I forgot one other thing. Has anybody read this book? Karon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? I have a copy of it. I'm just now reading of it. Okay? And the thing I really got struck by is this guy did my book in Bangkok. My version is what it's like up in the village. But if you like this book, you will probably like amazing Thailand, amazing Karon. And Rachia, my connection at Asia Books, told me this book and its companion sold over 5,000 copies, so I gotta go. Thank you so much. You guys are always a great audience. And that's what we're looking at right there. The answer to the question, who would be crazy enough? Me. Thanks again.
Okay, thanks Brad. And to top it off, you've got something else to take back. We'd like to present you with this certificate of appreciation to take back to Karon Village. They're telling us all about living in Karon. Maybe one day we'll all come up and visit you.
Well, you know, we were thinking about that, okay?
We'll hold the PCEC in your village.
We were thinking about doing that, Ren and I, about having an actual van tour to Karon and having homestay there. It's really interesting. Ask Jerry, he's been up there 2 or 3 times. It's just not what you're used to in Patty, I'll tell you that. It is completely different.
So we get a special deal for
We will do that. It'll be basically for the club.
with breakfast?
No, you get all your meals. You're not going to be able to get one. There's no restaurants.
Okay.
You're going to drink your beer at me and Lamont. So we'll let you know.
Would anybody like to ask a question of
Yeah, we have a
before
question.
he goes?
Yeah, you can ask a question.
How large is the village? How large is the village?
You there, Tony? That's it. I'll put this down here.
Okay. Yeah, good. Can you put these down?
How large is the village?
How what?
Large is how many people in the village?
300. Right about 300. Almost as many dogs. Okay? We got a lot of dogs. They get their own chapter in the book.
Brad, just thinking, to make your money go as far as possible with these kids, the best tool you could give them is to get them to learn speak English fluently. Is there some way you could facilitate that in the village sometime before they actually start being considered for scholarships to uni and that?
I have tried. It doesn't work very well. I have found about children, including my own daughter, who gets above 3s in English, 3.5. She'll never speak it in front of me. I can talk English to her, she understands, she answers in Thai. There is a big issue with Thai people about speaking is they're afraid about doing it wrong. I was an English teacher in the public schools from grade 1 all the way up to grade 12. They all suffer from shyness. They just don't want to be wrong. So it's very difficult, but you're absolutely right. The key to getting a good job is being able to service other people besides people who speak Thai. It's not at all important in Ratnaberry. I mean, all the businesses there, they conduct it in Thai. If you don't like that, you don't do business. So I agree with you. I'd like to do this. I've held Thai English classes for kids there because I kind of know about teaching. But yeah, it's tough.
Thanks, mate. Good luck.
Anyone else?
Any other questions?
I need a mic.
Oh, you'd like a microphone? Oh, what happened to yours?
You took it.
You paid a deposit.
You've got it.
I got it.
I took it for the duet.
Who's the one that wanted
To get a Thai person to learn English and speak English well, you have to give them a reason. My wife has a master's degree in economics. She speaks English almost as good as I do, which ain't that great. She writes English, she reads English, and she's never had a single lesson. She taught herself English because she learned that to get on in this world, you needed to speak English. She now has everybody in the village where she comes from, all the children there are learning English because they've seen how she has prospered. She used to be assistant manager of quality control with people who make Dove and Persil and that sort of thing. She's never had a single English lesson, self-taught.
Well, I agree. But you gotta get them motivated. And I think her example is 10 times as motivating as I would be, because I'm an English speaker, and they think that's different.
Just quickly, our speaker next week is Kunmi Chai. This will be the most eminent Thai we've ever had speak here. And he's actually speaking on his initiatives to educate people up in Isan and stuff with the whole education type revolution. Very important talk. And he's also, we might get time to play a little bit of his TEDx talk, in which he talks about he founded Cabbages and Condoms. He's had a major influence on Thailand, firstly tackling child mortality and then spreading contraception and stuff. It was a 13-minute TEDx talk, which I really recommend. I think we've got a link to it in the newsletter, or we will have this week. Really, we've got it here. If we've got time, we might play a few minutes of it. Couldn't meet Chai, so very important to be here next week. Very eminent man.
Anything else?
12 years in a small village. Very interesting talk, the second part.
Thank you.
And interesting about publishing books, the first part. How much of 12 years was alcohol involved in possibly a problem? Was that?
Well, I never think it was a problem, except for when they have the days you can't buy it. But that's one thing about the village. You can buy it every day. All the times here you can't buy it. No, you can buy it. They don't have hours where you can buy beer. As long as the store's open, you can buy beer. Buddha days, you can buy beer. Okay, that's an attraction about the village. But as far as what you're saying, I had my bout with alcohol when I lived in Hawaii. I was in AA for a year and a half, and I since came back from that and just said, look, there's as much as you can do. Don't do more than that. And I'm really pretty good, all in all, about just maintaining an even strain about it. I don't get blasted on my hind end like I used to in my younger days and wilder days. But it's definitely a social lubricant. It's definitely got its good points, and I think you got to watch it.
One has to be sociable, Brett. What part of alcohol has played in your life in the last 12 years?